Okay, so another thing I just wanted to share with you was the type of view. So in 2D, we want everything to be 2D wireframe, but in 3D, you want to have your view set as hidden so that you don't see all the lines on the inside. So right now, that's how I have it set up as hidden so that it looks like a solid like this. Just for demonstration, once you click in this viewport, you get these options to change the view. So if you just click on this word hidden, this is what 2D wireframe looks like. It's just a mess, a bunch of lines, so it's hard to work that way. So go ahead and click on this and change it to hidden, and that's the simplest way to work in 3D so that your solid surfaces look like solid surfaces. Okay, so now just FYI on this project, right now I could not get these two parts fixed right now, so I'll have to dig into that a little bit more on Monday. But for now, we're just going to leave them as they are. And so now we're going to extrude the sill member, which is going to butt up to this vertical member horizontally. So to do that, we are going to have to change our UCS. So our UCS is this icon on the bottom, which I know you're aware of. And just keep notice of the orientation it is right now. It's the Y is going vertically and the X is going left to right. To get back to this view, we have a couple default commands. If you type VPP, that means viewport plan, it'll automatically take you back to this plan setup of your UCS. Okay, so now if I go to this viewport, which is in a 3D view right now, if I type VPP over here, you'll see that it changes right back to the vertical plan view, which is the same that we have on this right side 2D view. Okay, same stuff, it's just a different view of the same objects. Okay, but now if you want to go back to your isometric view on this left side, we have a command called VPI, again, which stands for viewport isometric. So if I type VPI, it automatically takes me to this 3D view. So those are helpful commands to keep handy. And then you see how our X and Y is the same orientation as it was in the plan view. It's just that the Z is going vertical and you're just looking at it in an ISO view. Okay, so those are two commands, VPP for plan view and now VPI for isometric. So for horizontals now, we're going to need one more command, which will be VPE. So if I type VPE, you'll see what that does. It takes me to a perpendicular view of that mullion, which is what we will need when we are modeling the horizontal. Because now we want the horizontal to be extruded along that x-axis, which now in this view, it's the z-axis coming at us. Okay, so again, that was VPE for, I think the E stands for end view. So let me show you how you're going to get your horizontal. So we're going to, again, do a cut and paste now. So from the vertical, all we did was a basic copy. But now, since we're changing our view, we need to do a cut and paste. So a Control-C. So we're going to do a Control-C and we're going to use the pocket of the mullion as our base point, because that's a point that we can click on easily. Okay, so I'm going to click on that as my base point. And now again, to select objects, I'm going to select the extrusion, both the outside and that interior part. Don't forget these blue ISO bars. Okay, so just pick all the lines of the extruded parts. So we'll need these little cavities in there as well. And then we'll also need the sill track. And we're going to need this back filler piece. We'll just do those three. Okay, so now I hit enter. And now those are copied on my clipboard. So now I'm going to go back to this view. And so again, if it's hard for you to tell where that pocket is, again, I'm doing a shift in my wheel to kind of rotate. And I'm going to zoom in here so you can kind of get a viewpoint. Okay, this is the corner of the pocket. Okay, so that line there. So now if I go back to VPE, now I have a better idea. It's going to be this first line here, that corner, is the edge of the pocket of the vertical. And if it helps, again, we could change the color of the angle so that's easier to see that that's not part of the mullion. Usually I do change the colors. I have standard layers in this template for the different objects. Right now it just extruded on the sealant layer because that was the layer I was on. But I do have different vertical 1, 2, 3, miscellaneous parts 1, 2, 3, things like that with different colors already set up. So as you can see, that makes it a little easier. Now you could tell that that's a different part. Again, let me just go back into this ISO view so you could better see what I just did. So I just changed the color of that little member here so that you could more readily see the edge of this jam mullion. Okay, so now again, I'm going to go back to VPE. And now I'm going to do a Control V. And you can see my horizontal member is in the correct orientation. This is exactly what you want for a horizontal member. And I'm just going to paste it and use that corner of the red, which I know is the pocket, right there as my insertion point. Okay, so right now this is off on space. It's not on the mullion right now, but at least it's in the correct orientation. So if I do a VPI, just to show you what we just did there. So you can see there's our mullion and then there's the sill member. It's just waiting to be extruded. Okay, so I'm going to go back to VPE. Okay, so now we're going to extrude all these parts and we're going to see if we have the same problem with that extrusion. So again, let's do EXT for extrude. I'm going to select all of these objects, including the little hollow parts. Okay, and for the horizontals, again, I could do 24 or 36. So I'm just going to do 24 inches, 2 feet. Okay, so now it's coming at us 2 feet. So now if I do VPI, let's see what we just did. So now you can see we have the horizontal member extruded. Okay, so far. Now to get it up on the vertical, somewhere up here, again, you could just grab these parts and do a move. And you can now drag them anywhere you want, up and down, side to side. Again, just keep your ortho on. So depending on what you're modeling, you can move this now to the correct spot. You may not want to go in and out because you already placed it correctly so that the pockets align. So in this instance, we can go up and down to get it correct on this mullion. So I'm just going to go up. Again, if this is relative to a small segment, so I'm just going to go up maybe 5 inches to represent the sill itself. And like I said, we'll do some cleanup later, but at least you'll have the parts modeled and in the right spots. Okay, so the next thing would be, like I said, I would probably change the colors so that's easier to tell what is what. So again, you would just like normal AutoCAD, just click on a member, PR for properties, and then you can see what layers I have already set up. So this is a sill member. So I do have a layer for sill. So you can see I have sill 1 and 2. So just start changing them to the correct layers, and that would be a good help. So all of these parts related to the sill would be sill. Then I have a separate layer for the sill track. And then same with the verticals. I have vertical 1, 2, and 3. So the left side could be vertical 1, and then the right side could be vertical 2, just so that they're different colors, a little easier to see. And then as you can see here, our extrusion of the sill actually goes in. So let's look at this vertically here. So I'm going to go back to this 2D view. And now that we changed the colors, it's easier to see. But you see how it should be daylight, which is over here, right? So this is an easy fix, an easy thing to move. And this is why you want this 2D view. So on this 2D view, I could just do a DI for a distance. And I can grab from an endpoint to the daylight. And so this is in the X plane. So I see I need to move it over this weird number, 1.7359. So now I could go back here in model space, highlight all these members, do a move, and again, make sure my ortho is on. And now I could just hit 1.73, what was it, 59. And now I know that's exactly where it needs to be. And you can see now my plan view updated perfectly, and you can see it's right where it should be. So that's why it's helpful to have this plan view right next to the ISO view. It's a little easier to work that way, check your dimensions, and make sure things got moved the correct way that you wanted them to. So this would be the extent that I would need your help with to get some extrusions in the right places and the right orientation. We're going to be doing some basic intersections of vertical members to horizontal members. So if we could get this far, that would be a huge help to get our modeling going on a lot of these transitions. So play around with it and practice, get used to the commands, and see what questions come up, and just get a little more comfortable with doing this part. Okay, and then again, I will do a little more research on my end on how to fix these parts and why they're not extruding. All right, that is it. Thank you. Let me know if you have any questions.